Hello friends, I hope that you have been well. I have the long-awaited Japan haul here for you today and I hope that you enjoy. As some of you might know, I went to Japan in the beginning of April and I have part one of the Japan vlog up right now where I go to Tokyo, we go to Osaka. Part two of the Japan trip will be coming in next month or so, where I go back to Tokyo and we do Disney Sea, we go to the Kirby Cafe. It's a great time. So if you haven't seen part one yet, I recommend checking it out. In any case, here is the haul of all the things that I bought while I was in Japan. So first I'm going to start out with the art-related products that I bought during my trip, and we have this really fun Muji pen that I actually picked up at a convenience store at a kombini, which I was really surprised that there was a Muji section. This one is a multicolored pen. I very rarely see ones that have this many colors on it. I've in recent years only seen them with like 2 or 3 colors, and I was actually really pleased with all the different colors on this pen, which you can see I've tested out here. Really fun, and I've done a little sketch using them, and I'm really looking forward to experimenting with it more. It's just so convenient to have so many colors in a single pen as opposed to having to carry multiples. Next up is this really adorable sticker sheet set from Mossburger. So Mossburger is a fast food chain that we went to on our first full day, and the kids meal came with these Sanrio collab stickers. So obviously getting the kiddie meal was the only correct choice because I obviously wanted some Sanrio merch, and I just think they are so adorable. And yeah, Japan loves Sanrio. Some more sticker sheets. These are of course Howl's Moving Castle themed. I got from Kittyland. They are like shipping mailing stickers, which I thought was adorable. I resisted getting a million sheets of this. I was tempted, but it was early on in the trip, so I didn't want to overdo my spending. And so when I have my shop back open, a select lucky few will have this on their mailers. As for snacks, I surprisingly actually didn't bring that much back with me, mostly because I was thinking that I wanted to reserve my suitcase space for other items, since in Toronto we honestly actually have access to a lot of Asian snacks. But I did pick up this sake white chocolate Kit Kat because I've never seen this before, so I thought it was pretty novel. And yeah, it definitely has that sake flavor, but it's not overly strong because it's like paired with the sweetness of the white chocolate. And then this package here, it's some kind of like milk hard candy. I mostly bought it for the cute packaging and also because I was trying to use up the last of my Japanese yen at the airport. So yeah, super simple, but honestly quite delicious. If you are feeling that travel FOMO and can't get yourself to Japan, don't worry. Today's sponsor Zenpop has got you covered. If you are not familiar, Zenpop is a monthly subscription service where they send you a box curated specifically to either stationery, snacks, anime, and they all come directly from Japan. Zenpop is based in Osaka, and they give you a taste of Japan straight to your home. So this is the stationery box. It is a new design from the last time I've received a stationery box from them before. They actually collaborated with an Osaka-based artist, Saigetsu. So this folder and this notebook was designed by them, and I'm absolutely in love with the aesthetic of everything. Everything is so beautiful and as well super functional. I for sure will get use out of all these items. I especially just love how the mild liners, if you're familiar with me, they're actually markers that I use all of the time. I use the highlighters specifically for under drawings for when I'm doing sketches, and then I'll use ballpoint pens or other types of pens on top. So I was really excited to receive a pack of pastel ones in this set. And then we have this insanely massive snack box. Thank you so much, Zenpop, for also sending me the snacks. As I just said, I unfortunately didn't get the chance to bring a lot of snacks home from Japan, so this was the perfect way for me to be able to kind of relive the trip since it's been a couple months now. And so I'm so excited to be able to get into all of these goodies. If you are really into trying new snacks or you don't have access to getting Japanese snacks where you're at, this is the perfect box for you. So be sure to use my code WONDER at checkout for 1,300 yen off. And this works for any box and is open internationally. And so check the link in the description for all of the extra details. Of course, as an artist going to Japan, you must visit Sakaido, which is this humongous art supply store in Shinjuku. I got these shikishi boards. They are similar to like an illustration board, but they have a gold finish on the edges. And I've seen a number of different artists use them, particularly Haikala. I just think they're so interesting. And so I got two versions, one with a hot press smooth surface and then one with a cold press textured surface. So I'm really looking forward to trying these out with a variety of different mediums, and yeah, look forward to a video on that in the future. Then I grabbed some manga screen tones. If you're not familiar, this was the traditional way that mangaka creators used to create their comics. And basically it is a transparent, gigantic sticker. And basically the process would be that you would create your illustration on a board or paper, and then you would stick this sticker on top, and very carefully using an X-Acto knife, you would cut out the areas that you wanted to remove or have on the illustration. And I've heard that they are pretty hard to come by in North America, and I've never tried these before. So of course I had to pick some up. I was very spoiled for choices. I decided to go for, you know, the classic shoujo sparkles, and then I picked up this background sky thing and then some plaid for some clothing. And yeah, looking forward to making this in its own video as well. This is not a very exciting item, but it's a masking tape that I have not seen in the art supply stores local to me. So I hope that this is going to be the perfect tape for taping on my watercolor paper for when I do watercolor or gouache illustrations. And last but not least, from my Sakaido haul, which is probably the most exciting item that I picked up, I think, which of course is the Holbein acrylic gouache. If you are familiar with my channel and my work, you'll know that I do a lot of illustrations using acrylic gouache, and I have recently deduced that the Holbein brand is particularly my favorite. The Sakaido shop actually carried in two sizes. I've never seen this large size before, so of course I had to pick up a white because that's something I go through a lot. And then to try and be a little bit cautious, I picked up the small size for the rest. I did get overzealous and accidentally picked up two of the same color, but honestly, I will probably use it, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I did go a little crazy. I got quite a lot of colors here. I actually didn't go in with a plan, but when I came back, I realized when I looked through the acrylic gouache that I already owned, I was really impressed that I managed to not pick up any doubles, except for one, which was the Opera Rose, I think, which I knew I already had. I purposely picked up a second because I knew that was a color that I really, really enjoyed using. But yeah, looking at this lineup, it's just so magical and beautiful, and I absolutely love these paints. So very happy to have been able to get them at basically half the price in Japan, which is incredible. Another item that I had a mission to get is the Ghibli Miyazaki art kit from the Ghibli Museum. I had seen this kit before from other artists going to Japan and visiting the Ghibli Museum, and I wasn't really sure if it was still available, but lo and behold, I was very, very excited that it was still there. And the Ghibli Museum in and of itself is absolutely incredible. I highly recommend if you can. This is the little dust bag that it came in. I love this like night demon cat bus motif on the labels there. And here is the set. It's basically everything that you would possibly need to get started with using watercolors, which I think is great. So of course you have a pencil sharpener, which is a classic. And then it comes with a pencil and paintbrush, this really cute sketchbook. I believe this was kind of curated to suit what Miyazaki would recommend, is what I am kind of gathering. And then we have an empty watercolor palette, which you would fill your tubed watercolors into. And then of course, the most exciting part, which is the Holbein Artist watercolor tubes. I actually have never used the Holbein watercolors before. I obviously am obsessed with the Holbein acrylic wash, so I do have pretty high hopes for the quality of these watercolors. And I'm just so obsessed with the color selection here as well. And then lastly, this a really adorable illustrated pamphlet. I believe it was illustrated by Miyazaki, and all of the text in there is basically him giving advice on how to use the supplies in the kit and his advice on mixing colors and how to use watercolors. It's something that I'm pretty familiar with in terms of being an experienced watercolor painter, but regardless, I think that it's such a beautiful touch and really just gives this kit an extra special touch that makes it unique to the Ghibli Museum. And I just love the way that his like loose watercolor illustrations look. I have some Ghibli art books and I just always marvel at the way that how expressive it is. And of course, don't worry, I'm definitely going to be doing a whole video dedicated to using this art kit. Then for the last art-related item on my Japan haul list here, this was actually a very serendipitous purchase because basically my friend and I, we were just shopping around a mall and we happened to stumble across this little art gallery, and the art gallery itself was cool. They had, you know, some artwork up that we looked at, and then also they had some art books. And so I had a very hard time resisting this amazing art book. Basically, it compiles several different artists' illustrations in here, and I just absolutely love seeing the variety, but also I just feel like so many, probably all of these illustrators are up my alley in terms of aesthetic, and they're just so inspiring and beautiful to look at. And I'm a really, really big fan of art books and coffee table books, so regardless of this not being something that I originally intended to buy, aka an art book, I'm really, really glad I picked it up. And I'm also really happy that this book is very image heavy, because I find that even in English, like I don't really read a lot of the text when it comes to art books. So I am very happy that this is very image heavy and very minimal on the actual text. And yeah, they even actually had an open sketchbook for people to be able to doodle in at the gallery. So I actually did a little doodle when I was there. So if you happen to stumble upon it, you might see my sketch in the sketchbook there. Then moving on to essentially, I guess, home goods. This first item is this extremely adorable Rilakkuma bowl that I got from Kittyland. I am so obsessed with his little face. I love having little bowls like this, especially for ice cream specifically. There was actually a second one as well. I forget his name or their name, the other character, the other bear that in the lighter tone. And I was so tempted to buy both, and honestly I kind of wish I did, because it's just cute to have a set of them. But this was early on in the trip, so I was worried about having too many breakable items to pack for my trip home. But regardless, love all the little details on this guy, and I'm happy that I at least picked up one of them and it made it safely to my home. But I did pick up a second one. This was the last full day of our trip when we went to Disney Sea, Tokyo Disney Sea. And so I love all the very unique details on this and the retro Mickey motif. So even though I didn't pick up the pair of the Rilakkuma bowls, I at least have two bowls which are both from Japan. So regardless, I think that they look cute having this kind of mismatchy set anyway. Then I grabbed this really fun no-face soy sauce tray. I think, where did I get this from? This was from a Ghibli store that was in one of the train stations, I believe. And yeah, I just think it's such a fun idea, and I love dipping, you know, my sushi in soy sauce, so very fun. Then we have some Kirby Cafe items. I went to the Kirby Cafe, and not only was all of the food and ambiance and setting of the place so adorable, I of course had to pick something up at the gift shop. I'm a coffee drinker, so I got this coffee container that is really cute, and it also came with a matching kind of spoon scooper for your coffee, so of course had to get the full set. And then they also sold the single packets of Kirby Cafe coffee. I haven't tried it yet, but I do look forward to testing it out because, you know, why not? And just so novel and fun. Then we have this absolutely magical cat bus rug. I am so obsessed with this. We went to, I think, what was considered the largest Don Quixote, which is what would I consider it? A variety department store, I suppose. It was absolutely massive, and there was, of course, a Ghibli section. I know that Totoro is probably the most iconic Ghibli motif, but honestly, maybe a controversial opinion, but Cat Bus I think is my favorite of the two. So I'm actually really torn about what to do with this rug because I want it to stay pristine and beautiful, and I feel bad using it as an actual rug. So if you have any tips for me on how to hang this on the wall just as wall art, let me know, because I think that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing with it. If you've seen part 1 of my Japan vlog, you'll know that when I went to Kyoto, we did a lot of shrines and temples. And if you've been to one, you'll know that they often sell a lot of omamori, which are these amulets for various, you know, good luck charms. And initially, I wasn't that interested in picking one up for myself. I did pick up a few as souvenirs for family and friends. But then when we were at the, I believe the Fushimi Inari shrine, we came across this sword one, and I couldn't resist. I'm a sucker for sword motifs, and I just think it's so cool and badass. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to put this yet, but regardless, very fun, cool item anyways. I think one of the must things to do in Japan is to do at least a few gachapons. And so when I came across this Jujutsu Kaisen one, I had to do it. We were, of course, in Akihabara, which is just the epicenter for anime and manga and nerdy items. And yeah, I would have been perfectly happy with any of the characters, so that's why I wanted to do this one. And I ended up getting Gojo. He is so fun. I love that they are supposed to like hang off of your cord. Like, I just think that's such an adorable idea. And so yeah, I have him hanging out here on my desk on my phone charger. So adorable. Another toy figurine that I picked up was this Skull Panda from Pop Mart, which is like a designer toy shop. And this is something that I have recently kind of been getting interested in because my friend Chris is a big fan of figurines like this, these like blind boxes. So I picked up the Mar of Animals collection because honestly I would have been perfectly happy with pretty much any of the designs that were listed on the box. I think all of them are so cool, and I feel like this series just like was really up my alley aesthetically. So I had not opened it yet. I wanted to open it on camera with you guys because I just figured that was a little bit more exciting. So I ended up getting the unicorn character, and I am absolutely in love with her. Her colors are probably like my go-to color palette if you are familiar with my work. It's become kind of a staple color palette for me inadvertently, and I was so amazed at all of the beautiful details. It's hard to pick up on camera, but there are certain elements that are pearlescent. I think the gradients are so gorgeous, and I think that she is just absolutely perfect. And for those of you who are familiar with my work, I realized pretty quickly after looking at her that she felt so familiar, and I realized that I actually have illustrated a unicorn character in the past that is so similar to the color palette that's used in this toy. So whoever designed this toy, they and I have like the same brain cell, which is so fascinating. But yeah, absolutely amazing. This is very, very dangerous because I really don't need to, dive into this new collectible hobby, but I'm so happy that I picked up one anyways. Then moving into skincare and beauty items, I actually didn't end up picking up that much because I feel like I didn't do enough research prior to, and it was kind of overwhelming the sheer amount of options there were when I was in Japan. But I did pick up a couple of things. So I have this eye cream from Innisfree, which I believe is a Korean brand. This was something that I was recommended by my friend, and yeah, I've been using it for the past couple months and I really like it actually. And then this was another item recommended to me by my friend, which is this mineral powder, I believe also by Innisfree. I haven't gotten the chance to try it out yet because I'm going through another powder, but I'm sure I have high hopes for it. And then not really that exciting, but very important is this sunscreen. This is just a replacement because I currently am going through another bottle of this already, but it is definitely cheaper to pick up when you're actually in Japan since it is a Japanese brand. So yeah, just picked up a new replacement sunscreen. This item here was super random. So I was just shopping around in one of the stores and the packaging of this hair product caught my eye. I had no intentions of buying any hair products while I was there, but again, I'm kind of a sucker for good packaging and Japan is very good at it. But yeah, basically it is a kind of multi-purpose spray. It's supposed to help protect your hair from UV and heat protectant for when you style it, as well as moisturize your hair as well. And yeah, I was kind of convinced because the person working there, so sweet, she recognized my Mingyu photo card hanging off my purse, and so we kind of briefly bonded over our love of 17, and she even like pulled over one of her coworkers and was like saying that, I was a carrot, and it was super wholesome. So I kind of just had to pick this up. And also I feel like when this is done, I can clean it out and actually just use the bottle for other purposes. Picked up this super adorable bear necklace. I actually got a white version for my friend Kyung, which I gave to her at the very last moment of the trip. So now we have like matching friendship bear necklaces, which is pretty wholesome. And now to the last section of the haul, which is going to be some clothes that I picked up. First is this really cool dress. I love that half of it is pleated and then half of it is solid, and I'm obsessed with these buckle straps. So it's adjustable and it just looks cool. I'm kind of a sucker for extra hardware on my outfits. And then I think this this section here is really unique. It kind of gives that like cargo utilitarian vibe, which I'm really into right now. And bonus, there's a pocket, which is of course one of the highlights of any dress is when it has pockets. So yeah, really, really happy with this. And it's such a great opportunity for me to layer different types of t-shirts and shirts underneath. Another piece that I love is this jacket. I say jacket in quotations because the material is super, super sheer. So it definitely does not provide any warmth whatsoever, but I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool and I'm obsessed with the poofy sleeves. And I was so happy that I actually grabbed the very last one. I saw it on the mannequin and I had asked the person working there where the rest of them were. And turns out the one on the mannequin was the very last one. And she was so sweet, so helpful. She definitely knew how to hype someone up. Very good salesperson, you know? And yeah, it's got a little like toggle thing here so that you can tighten or loosen the bottom of it underneath, which is super fun. I love a cropped outerwear thing, pockets, functional pockets. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's super unique and a great layering piece in like the spring, fall, or like late summer nights. If you saw my part 1 of my Japan vlog, you probably would have already seen this shirt. I showed me trying it on at the store in Harajuku, and I am obsessed. It's got really fun details like the zippers on the sleeves, and I love that it's like a half plaid, half solid with this really amazing illustration on the front. And the manga shoujo style, of course, is right up my alley. And yeah, I was torn between this. There was a pink and red version as well, that had like a red tartan or plaid in the back. It was really, really cool. But I knew that I would get more wear out of a black and white just because it is a little bit more neutral. But yeah, super fun piece. And I was so pleasantly surprised that so many items, while they were like one size options, they were typically like oversized for the average Japanese person, but then, you know, would fit me as a Western sized person. So yeah, super pleased. I love it. Very, very fun. And yeah, I wore this a lot during the trip. Of course, as you do when you are in Disney World or Disneyland, of any Disney park, you have to get some kind of, you know, headband situation. And I ended up getting, you know, roped into the Duffy hype. Initially, I didn't really understand why Duffy was so popular, because to me, I felt like he was just a cute generic bear. But I don't know what it was with being in Disney Sea and seeing all the Duffy stuff and Duffy friends and everyone dressed up on theme. It was so cute. And it was Disney's 40th anniversary, like Disney in Japan, Disneyland, Disney Sea's 40th anniversary, so it felt very fitting to get this limited, I think it's limited edition party hat version, which I think is adorable. And me and my friend Kyung, I think we looked very cute, all matchy-matchy. And yeah, so I'm obsessed. I love them. I think they're super cute. And yeah, that is the Japan haul. If you haven't seen the first part of my Japan vlog, I'll have it up on the screen for you to watch. And I hope that you look forward to the part 2 of the Japan vlog, as well as all of the upcoming videos where I use some of the art supplies that I bought while I was in Japan. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have an amazing day or evening wherever you're at, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!